front of you is a 2008 BMW 335i with 57,000 miles. Now, the BMW 3 Series was originally introduced in 1975 after the predecessor BMW 2002 was discontinued in 1977. Now, since the 1975 generation of the 3 Series, it has evolved mightily over the years and has been very successful worldwide since then. Now, this specific 335i is part of the 5th generation as the E93 model, which ranged from 2004 to 2013. Now, the current generation 3 Series is the G20 edition, which was introduced last year in 2018 and has a very sleek redesigned look. Now, over the years, the 3 Series has taken off from this sporty little coupe to a big, massive market brand, which has the M3 as the highest trim of the modern highest tier. Now, in this video, I'll be taking you around the 335i, showing off its luxurious features, showing off its nice fun sportiness, and taking you around and seeing where it falls in the lemon on the scoring scale. Stay tuned. One thing that I want to point out on the exterior of the 335i is this series BMW in the late 2000s was very proportional and simple looking. Before everything became more sleek and modernized to kind of match all the technological advances in cars and this new whole redesigned futuristic look in the generations of vehicles. This old style late 2000s design is very nice. Everything is sleek and simple. You have the proportional kidney-sized grills. Everything is just straight to the point and just beautifully designed on BMW's part. Everything is just so simple but elegant. It's the way BMW is known for. It's a very nice touch on the exterior quality, which I really like. So continuing with the exterior styling of the 335i, as you can see, you have this big long door on the convertible, which I will get to momentarily. You have the nice chrome lining on the Beamer to kind of emphasize the elegance you get when you're buying one of these vehicles. I really like the Continental wheels right here, and the nice rims matches the dark blue exterior color very nicely. This nice metallic blue kind of radiates the sun, just shines right back at you, very nice. And continuing over here to the back of the 3 Series, the styling is, the simple but elegant styling stays very common and constant throughout the entirety of the vehicle. As you can see back here, you have this very just simple and basic look, but it's very nice. You have the dual exhaust right here. All you have back here is simple. You have the nice little Beamer badge right there, and right to the right of it you have the 335i badge right there, just kind of displaying elegantly in the nice chrome font lettering of what you purchased for your BMW. Everything, as I mentioned, just a very nice, simple but beautiful design on BMW's part. That nice German exterior styling. And as I previously mentioned in the last clip, the 2008 335i is a convertible, and if you want to make your hard top convert to the convertible, all you have to do is simply push the button on the top of the key fob, like so. If you look at the key fob, hit the top button, and you can see, if you hold it down for a couple seconds, the 335i will convert to its convertible form. Ooh. And as you can see, the 335i is now converted. And before we climb into the 335i, I just want to point out this gorgeous, dark brown leather interior seating. As you can see, it just fits the car super perfectly. It really just epitomizes that luxurious taste that BMW wants you to feel. And everything from the interior front to the rear of the 335i is all this really soft, cushiony, almost caramel, brown leather interior. Very nice. And it matches this dark wooden interior absolutely terrifically. it all just flows and sweeps throughout, and it really, really gives this vehicle like the luxurious look you're looking for in a convertible from BMW. So moving to the interior of the 335i, as you can see, you have a very generic but nice looking gauge cluster right here. Nice and simple. You got your odometer right there, temperature and time, and the trip odometer to the right of the regular odometer. Everything right here at your fingertips, nice and simple. Now zooming out of the shot, heading to the steering wheel, as you can see, you have your various talk and phone call abilities right here on the left side of the steering wheel. Up here you have your select buttons to kind of navigate through songs and other features when you're using the infotainment system. You have a nice little Beamer logo centered in the center of your steering wheel. And the one thing I want to point out right here are these big, beefy chrome paddle shifters. Speaking of the luxurious features that BMW fastens within their 3 Series sedan, or convertible, pardon me, these paddle shifters are very heavy, and I just find it humorous how massive and just chrome they are. Like these paddle shifters like epitomize like that luxurious feeling you want to get. Like it's just these big beefy paddle shifters when you're going to shift if you put it in manual mode when you're driving this thing. Still though, pretty cool, and everything's right here, simple. So continuing with the interior of the 335i, moving to the center console infotainment system. As you can see here, this infotainment and navigation system was not mandated or just a standard feature in the 3 Series back in the late 2000s. This is an optional package, and I'll get back into the infotainment system very shortly. But continuing with the overall center console right here, you have your hazards. And one little odd feature on the 3 Series, I think, is the location of the unlock button. Usually this button would be on the side door panel where like the window switches would be. However, it is right in the middle of the center console in this vehicle. And continuing along here, you have your vents and your AC features right here, all at your fingertips. You know, a very standard but nice mid-2000s center console interior, all right here and very nice and simple, nothing too outlandish. You have your radio features right here, and then continuing down here you have a little coin slot and a cigarette lighter in case you want to light it up while you're driving down the highway with the top down and cruising down the back roads, whatever pleases you. As you can see here, you have a big chrome paneling right here on the shift lever, park, reverse, neutral drive, and a optional manual mode where you can use those big chunky paddle shifters as I previously emphasized. And continuing here right in the center console location with this real quick touch on the really nice pattern right here. This brown, as I mentioned, it fits the dark brown leather interior very nicely and adds a very luxurious look. And continuing, as I mentioned, you have this chrome little, almost like a mouse pad to kind of circle through and move throughout the infotainment system, which I will touch on shortly. And your menu button will give you to the main home screen of your infotainment system as well. So continuing with the infotainment system, I will now divulge upon this. One little thing I want to just touch on, for some reason this center home screen of the infotainment system reminds me of an old gaming console from the late 2000s, just for the colorful little arrows at the top. I don't know why, it just reminds me of an old gaming console. It kind of cracks me up a little, but that's just my part. Anyway, using a little mouse pad on the bottom, as I previously mentioned, you tap it up, and you have your communication settings, you know, your phone, your BMW assist buttons, you know, climate displays, your various weather outlets, you know, the parked car operations, the vent settings, all the fancy stuff to make you feel comfortable in your convertible. Entertainment has your various radio settings, your aux cord, your AM, FM radio, your CDs in case you want to use that back in the late 2000s when CDs were still the hip new thing. And on the right you have navigation, you know, data, address book, and information in case you want to go on a road trip, use a GPS. Everything is at your fingertips here in this nice luxurious BMW. And as you can see, as I went through the infotainment system, everything was like a late 2000s, you know, feature. Nothing like right at your fingertips. It's not a touch screen, but this was standard in the late 2000s. And as I mentioned before, this is a convertible 335i. And as you can see here, this is where your convertible button is located. If you push it up or down, the convertible top will either come back up if you want it to be closed and it is raining, or if it is a gorgeous day like it is today for once in New Jersey, beautiful blue sky weather for the first time ever in my video, you can drop the top down and go cruising through the back roads in your 335i and enjoy the nice features BMW has to offer you in your convertible. One interesting feature I want to point out on the interior of the 335i, if you open up this leather padded center console, as you can see, you have a little storage outlet right here and your cigarette lighter, an additional one right here in case you want to smoke in your BMW, no biggie. But the thing that I want to point out is this cup holder right here. Yes, first overall, it is a bit quirky to have a cup holder in the center console of a vehicle, besides maybe something like a giant SUV with a cool box in modern day. However, in a convertible, it's a bit odd. But the one thing I really want to emphasize is this cup holder is supposed to be a cooled cup holder, where if you turn the switch on and put a drink in here, it will shoot cool air and surround the beverage, so it cools it while you're driving down the highway. It's a very interesting feature that kind of almost disappeared in cars these days, but it's an odd touch on BMW's part that I want to point out, because it's very different from anything I've ever seen before. So climbing into the rear of the 335i, as you can see, the seat room in the back is not horribly strong. If you need to fit someone back here, you can, fit someone like back here. It's not like, I'm not scrunched, but it's not uber roomy like the back seat of a full-size SUV, which you should expect. I'm about 5'10". My legs are about just a tiny bit behind the seat, so back legroom is okay. If you're a taller person, you're probably gonna want them to sit up front, or you might not be able to take them at all, which is a bit of a flaw, but nonetheless, it's not the end of the world. Continuing with the overall interior of the back, if you can see right here, you have this weird like cup holder design almost. You press it and they open, and it's supposed to fit cups or some sort of material back here. Close it like so. Back here you have a small little storage outlet right here if you want to put like coins or something back here. You have a rear AC vents which blow cool or warm air from the back. And if you can look to the right of me, you have a small little center console for your rear passengers to put material in back here. Just slides open right here and gives you a little bit of room. But just in general, nothing too overbearing in the back seat of the 335i, but very comfortable as it is in the front seats. You have this nice plush leather interior that BMW offers you, but overall very nice and just fits you perfectly. So, generic back seat. And one last interior feature that I would like to point out real quick. As you can see, the door of the 335i is massive, as most convertibles have pretty large sized doors just for the size and overall like mechanics of the convertible itself. But as you can see, you have a lot of storage on this side door on both the driver and the passenger side. You have a storage compartment right here where you can also use a grab handle when you're shutting the door. And then over here, this massive bar right here. As you can see, there is a very deep storage compartment in here in case you want to store like smaller items that'll fit in this large pocket. And moving to the left of that, you have yet another deep storage slot right here. It's another hole in the door in case you want to fit some type of papers, business cards, pens, whatever you want to put in your 3 Series, you can put right here in any of these 3 storage spots. You have them on the passenger side door, as BMW tries to make up some storage for a convertible, but it fastens you with a lot of various features in case you need to store stuff in this vehicle, which is very nice on BMW's part. And continuing with the interior of the 335i, one thing I've mentioned in my other 2 BMW reviews, which I can link in the bio below, the cup holders in BMWs are the only flaw this brand might possibly have. And don't get me wrong, these are not horrible, but they're very interesting little features. If you press this button right here, the main cup holder will wear out for the driver, which is fastened towards your position. And if you open the other cup holder, it will point out for the passenger. And in this case, in case you have a passenger and you're going on a little bit of a journey, you have 2 cup holders at your disposal which dangle from the almost near the glove box in this interior. But nonetheless, they're there for your drinks to be stowed. So getting behind the wheel of the 2008 335i, the first thing I want to point out is the steering is extremely heavy. Like you'd think in a smaller little convertible like this would be like a bit light. The wheel is extremely, very heavy and like almost like powerful feeling. It's very grippy and just tense and firm. Nonetheless, though, this thing has very good speed. Just the six-cylinder engine, taking off, it just floats. It's a Beamer, so it's got very good acceleration. Just you barely tap it. I'm barely tapping it. I'm going like 50. It hits you like very quickly. But the one thing I will mention, though the steering is very tight, as I mentioned, like the wheel feels very firm, the handling, you feel so planted on the road. You feel like fully in control. There's no body roll. It is very firm and planted on. Like, you have this full feeling like you're in control. Nothing can take that away from you. Like, BMW gives us this very strong feeling of like dominance for the driver, and I've touched on that in the 535 review, the M235i review. It's a very common trait in BMW, which makes the driving experience very enjoyable. Taking a sharp turn, the heavy steering you can feel that when you're making the turn, but you punch it and the acceleration takes you like that. Sending it down the road in the 335i, you got that nice, awesome acceleration. And, you know, being that it's a convertible, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. You know, you got the wind blowing down, you got your wind blowing in your face, you got this big, beefy 6-cylinder engine underneath the hood. It sounds very nice, and everything, you just float in this thing. You feel very planted. You know, the leather seats are super comfortable. You know, and it's a practical car too. You know, just because it's a convertible, it doesn't mean that this vehicle is impractical by any standards. You know, it's got pretty solid MPG ratings. You know, it's got decent storage. Because it is a 3 Series, but being that it's a convertible, it just makes the experience all the more worthwhile and enjoyable. So on BMW's part, you know, it's a fun thing to drive. And then hitting it one more time, you really feel this thing just take off. The 6-cylinder, it just takes you, you know, very strong, very powerful, and it's just a fun thing to drive. I mean, granted there is no sport mode, but you know, when you got a fun convertible that's practical, you know, you don't need a sport mode to have a good time in a Beamer. You know, everything else that BMW gives to offer you, you know, you don't need a sport mode. Everything it fastens you with is just enjoyable and comfortable in itself. And overall, like, this is definitely like the heaviest turning vehicle I've ever driven. As I mentioned, like, I wanted to stress how strong the turning is, but just aside from that, everything is very nice, just at your disposal. So, good car to drive and just a nice driving experience overall. Question number 1 of the interview section is, do I like the 2008 BMW 335i? The answer is yes. This sporty convertible is a very practical yet fun weekend vehicle to drive. The convertible factor is very fun, and yes, I do like the 335i. Question number 2 of the interview section is, what is my favorite part of the 335i? That would have to be the overall interior, this gorgeous brown and wood leather interior, and the overall driving experience with the convertible factor. It's very fun and enjoyable, and that would have to be my favorite part of the 335i. Question number 3 of the interview section is, what is the weirdest or most outlandish part of the 335i? That would have to be this cooled cup holder. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the cooled cup holder is a very odd feature that I've never seen in any other car before, and that would have to be the most outlandish feature in the 335i. Question number 4 of the interview section is, what is my least favorite part of the 335i? And as in both other BMWs, that would have to be the cup holder situation. As far as cup holders, although everything else in the BMW is very nice, these cup holders are a very last-minute thought, as always. So that would have to be my least favorite part on this vehicle, if I had to be nitpicky. Question number 5 of the interview section is the 335i worth its value? Now I believe yes. You can get a sporty, practical convertible for about $30,000, and the value holds pretty decently overall. You know, if it doesn't have a lot of miles, you can get one for like a pretty decent price. So I would say yes, the value of the 335i is worth it. Question number 6 of the interview section is, would I ever want/own the 335i? And the answer is yes. As with the 2 other Beamers, the overall driving experience, luxurious features, and practicality of the vehicle is a very worthwhile feature that many people would want to possess when owning a vehicle. Having the ability to make a practical sedan a drop-top convertible at your disposal is a very nice feature, and yes, with the overall fun experience and the good handling, I would want or own this vehicle in a heartbeat. Now that we have evaluated the 335i's individual characteristics and features, it is now time to see where it falls in the lemon list evaluation scale. Before I begin, I'd like to thank my friend Omer for both providing the vehicle for this video as well as editing this video for me. So nonetheless, on with the scoring. Starting with the exterior of the 335i, the exterior is simple and elegant, however it is not totally gorgeous to the point of earning a 10, so it earns a 6 out of 10. Interior is very nice, as I mentioned. The caramel brown leather seats as well as the dark wood make a very nice luxurious look for the 335i, earning a 7 out of 10 for the interior. Road trip on the 335i is very good as well. As I mentioned, the really plush leather seats really comfort you on the drive. It earns a 7 out of 10. MPG on the 335i is only mediocre, especially for a mid-size sedan. Being that as a convertible, it reduces the gas mileage to 21.5 combined estimated MPG, which earns a 5 on the MPG scale. Storage on the 335i is pretty limited. If this vehicle didn't have the convertible, it would have a lot more storage. However, the convertible mechanisms block a lot of the trunk storage, and not too much back seat room earns it only a 3 out of 10 for the storage. Character on the 335i is pretty strong in the sense that it's a cool, fun convertible. However, it is still a 3 Series, which is the entry-level BMW, and it earns a 5 out of 10. Wishlist on the 335i is decent. Granted, this car has a lot of features for a car from 10 years ago. However, it's a bit outdated now and earns a 6 out of 10. Handling on the 335i is also pretty strong. It is a very planted vehicle. However, the steering is a bit tight, which reduces the score a tiny bit, and it earns a 6 out of 10 for the handling. Excitement on the 335i is similar to the other features as well. Yes, it is fun to drive. However, it is still the entry-level 3 Series for BMW and earns a 5 out of 10. Stupidity on the 335i is pretty strong as well. There's not a whole hell of a lot of weird characteristics I can point out, except for the weird cup holders in the back and the dashboard as well. So it earns a 7 out of 10 for the stupidity. Price on the 335i is pretty strong. It's not an overly expensive vehicle for a fun convertible. However, since it is a luxury German vehicle, it will lose price in the beginning and earns a 6 out of 10. Engine responsiveness is pretty strong as well. The straight 6 is pretty strong in the 3 Series and earns a 6 out of 10. And overall amenities are pretty strong as well. As it is a 10-year-old car, it's not up to date exactly. However, the leather seats and the strong interior is very nice and earns a 6 out of 10 for the overall amenities. Add that all together, you get a grand total of 75 out of 130, divided up by 13 categories, is 5.77. The 3 Series falls towards the top of the Lemonless scoring scale, losing to the 5 Series and 2 Series. It is not as modern and luxurious or sporty as the other two. However, it still beats a lot of the lineup. Nonetheless, the 3 Series is a very exciting and fun car to drive and review, and there will be many more reviews in the future near soon, so stay tuned.